Technology's Achilles heel, Achieving High-Quality Implementation by Jean E. Hall serves as the basis for our presentation. This article is particularly relevant to the IT leader because of how Hall breaks down the study of technology integration and the role of the change process as it relates to high-quality implementation. Hall makes it clear early on that technology adoption by teachers is not dichotomous. He uses the image of a bridge across a chasm to illustrate the journey to ideal implementation. Upon the bridge rests the foundations of this article. Finally, Hall informs the reader of the roles of various school leaders, such as principals, and how these roles impact achieving high-quality implementation. When considering technology adoption by teachers, one can ask 4 simple questions. In his article, Hall refines these simple questions to guide the teacher across the implementation bridge. There are varying levels of adoption of technology by users. These levels of use can't be measured. The constructs on the implementation bridge serve 2 purposes: to define the distance or progress a user has made in crossing the bridge, and to plan interventions to further advance the user. Because change is a process, it's unreasonable and unrealistic to expect teachers to make the change quickly. Real change takes time. In some studies, it has been shown that progress across the implementation bridge results in higher outcomes. Simply put, the further across a teacher is, the more it will show in the results. There are 3 diagnostic dimensions on the bridge. These are innovation configuration, levels of use, and stages of concern. These are 3 broad categories used to determine where a teacher is on the implementation bridge. The use of technology is measured on a continuum. Partial use is still use and can be measured as such. The levels of use can be measured and scored using a levels of use instrument. This instrument can take the form of a survey, quiz, or an interview. The levels of use is used to determine the position of the user on the implementation bridge. This information is linked to student outcomes and other factors such as the change leadership style of the principal. The level of use of each implementer has to be measured and then compared against student outcomes. The complexity of the change and the amount of implementation facilitation support will influence how long it will take for the user to proceed across the implementation bridge. The construct that addresses the variations in how the innovation is made operational is called innovation configurations. Different ways of using a particular technology by different people can result in a multitude of uses. The keys to innovation configuration are that developers must identify and provide information about what a high-fidelity implementation configuration of their innovation looks like, aka vision. Implementers must strive to put in place the high-fidelity configuration. The IC map shows the steps to high-quality implementation, and an IC map is similar to a rubric. Level A is the top level and represents the highest quality implementation, while Level E represents the lowest level of implementation. The information gleaned from the IC map can be used as a tool for assessing the degree of implementation and as a diagnostic for planning further implementation of supporting interventions. The IC map becomes the summary document for what has been observed and heard about regarding how the innovation is implemented. It's important to make the IC maps available to participants because the IC map describes and defines the vision of the innovation, and it is useful for administrators who may wonder what quality implementation looks like. The stages of concern describes the affective part of change. 4 basic areas of concern have been identified. Impact. The focus is on how the innovation is affecting students and what can be done to increase outcomes. Task. Time, logistics, schedules, and fitting everything in that must be done are of concern. Self. Personal feelings of uncertainty, whether one can succeed with this innovation, and whether the supervisor will support the efforts are central in thought. And finally, unconcerned. Other things are of more concern at this time than the innovation. There are three change facilitator styles: initiators, managers, and responders. Initiators have a strong set of ideas about what their school should be like and what it should become. They have a passion for their school, and they will push their teachers to do all that is needed. Managers focus on following the rules and controlling resources. They are skilled at working within the organization, getting the most out of budgets, and keeping everything well organized. Responders focus on listening to the concerns of their staff. They do not feel that they have to do everything themselves. They want everyone to be happy and to get along. Information on leadership styles is included in this article because of the relationships between change facilitator styles and implementation success. Depending on the CFS, the teachers will have varying degrees of implementation success. Teachers led by responder principles do not have as much success in implementation, while initiator styles have the most success. This paper has introduced the metaphor of the implementation bridge to describe the change process of technology adoption. Each construct on the bridge provides data on which to base decisions and reflect on best practice. The implementation bridge serves as a reminder that change is a process, not an event.